It's 5:30, so we'll open this meeting, call to order. First item on the agenda is approval of the minutes. Has everybody had a chance to look over those minutes?
I move to approve the minutes from the meeting from February 6, 2024.
Okay, Jill has made a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Jenny seconds the motion.
Can you speak a little louder?
Oh, sorry.
Okay. We have a motion to approve the minutes and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. The minutes have been approved. We have no old business, so we'll move forward straight into the public hearing for rezoning case number Z 2024-01. This case is, the applicants have requested that this property that was originally a church, it's zoned C1 commercial, and they're requesting it to be R1 residential. Before we proceed with the hearing, I'll ask the planning commission members if any of them intend to disqualify themselves from the hearing, discussing and voting on this case because they or their relatives own property in the notification area or have a conflict of interest or particular bias on this matter.
I have to.
Okay, so Jenny has disqualified herself because she owns property within the notification area. I do declare that we have a quorum, all members are present. I'll also ask those that are attending this public hearing to read through the ground rules provided for this public hearing. Does everybody have a copy of the ground rules? Okay. According to the recording secretary, a notice for this hearing was published in the official city newspaper, Tri-County Tribune, on February 14th, 2024. In addition, notices were mailed to applicants and to 11 real property owners of record in the area of notification on February 7th, 2024. The record shows that at least 20 days elapsed between publication and mailing and this hearing date. Unless there is evidence to the contrary from anyone present, I'll declare that proper notification has been given. Although we do not encourage such communications, I will ask the commission if any of them have received an ex parte verbal or written communication prior to this hearing. If so, please share them with all the members of the commission. Anybody have any additional information I wanted to share? Okay. I'll call on our zoning administrator, Pam Watson, to provide us a background report for this case.
So, the zoning report that I attached to your packet had the background and of the church. So, as we all know, they applied for the special use permit back in June of 23. That permit was denied by the council, and they withdraw that permit and now reapply for the change of zoning for that property. The factors and findings that is attached to your packet, do you guys have any question about that at all? The one thing that I do notice on question 2, the lot north of the church, it's actually lot 1 and lot 2 is actually commercial. The old hotel lot was never rezoned to residential after the hotel was taken down. Bobby and I did research on that yesterday. So That would be the only thing that is, that I had to change on my report.
So you said it was never rezoned to residential, and it shows it up on the zoning map as residential.
Really? No, cause we look back, we look back on the day that he bought the lot, and, unless the zoning map is not correct, but I cannot find any paperwork that said that it was rezoned to residential.
Well, there's never been a building there, so I don't know why
What year
they
did you
would.
buy that?
Back in 2005.
The commercial zone runs along Fifth Avenue,
Mm-hmm.
so the hotel was on the north
North of
side
that.
of Fifth Avenue.
Right.
Mhm.
So
No,
that's
he-
all residential.
Yeah, he was pretty sure that it was commercial, that's the only reason why he bought that lot, and he make it known that he will not be rezoning it to residential, he want it as commercial. So, I will do more research on that since we have, discrepancy, but as far as I can tell, as far as I look back from today back to 2000, there wasn't any paperwork that said it was zoned residential.
Well, as old as that hotel is, I doubt that there was any zoning
Yeah.
at that point.
But,
I guess,
mean, it's not,
What's it show on the map?
Hmm?
What's it show on the map?
It shows on the map that it's residential.
I think Bobby bought it with the understanding that it was commercial.
mhm.
I don't think it was. Do you have any old zoning maps?
Not that I can find, the map
No.
that I have is the one that we're
That-
looking at.
I mean, I guess that could actually, become an issue, because, if it's completely surrounded by commercial, that would be considered spot zoning for a residential zone, which is kind of discouraged, but, I guess it would be, I really don't know what to say about that, because like I say, I always assumed that it was residential based on the current zoning.
And I was too until, Bobby had brought it up to my attention yesterday when he stopped by. Cause somebody had talked to him and asked him that, they thought it was residential, but he was sure that it was commercial.
Could you all speak up louder, please?
We'll try. I'm probably the only one with a big mouth in here, so, but we'll try.
Well, that could make a huge difference in everything.
Well,
Do you hear what we're talking about? Okay,
Well,
so
I've heard it, but.
across the
it's-
street from the north of the church that we're
Yes,
talking about.
I heard what you said, but not everyone did.
Okay. So it's zone commercial across the street to the north. Okay? Alright. But it shows on our map, am I correct?
Show on our map as residential.
It shows it residential. So, but they went back and looked the year Bobby bought it, and it was commercial, and that's why he bought it to begin with, because it was commercial. Bobby Steinitz.
Other than that, I don't have anything. The minimum housing code, was done, the inspection was done by our city inspector, and, they fixed everything, and everything is up to the minimum housing code. So there is no, I got the copy of the report, if you guys are wanting a copy, just put in a request and I can submit that to you. Other than that, if you guys have any questions, I can try to answer them.
okay, you're finished with your report?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for that. I will now call on the applicants, to make a presentation or, speak on their behalf. And explain their request, and, any response to the zoning administrator's report. So, is there anything that you'd like to say?
Well, I guess I will, since you've asked me to. We simply would like to have the building zoned as residential so that we could live there. We don't plan to open a business to make it a commercial business of any kind. I don't know, what else to say. I was not aware of the possible issue with Mayor Bob's property, so.
I wasn't aware of it either, and I'm not, at this point, I'm not for sure that is an issue.
Yeah.
But,
We would simply like to live
Yeah.
in the building and take care of it as a residential home.
All right. Are there any questions for the applicant from the commission or staff at this time?
Yeah, why, last time you guys wanted a special use permit, why do you want it rezoned to residential now instead of getting a special use permit?
Because we thought since the special use permit seemed to be such a problem, and since we already own the building as owners for almost a year now, that it would be okay to try to get the residential, to get it rezoned as residential.
Okay.
Any other questions? We will now open this public portion of the hearing and ask if there are any members of the public who would like to speak on this case. We'd like you to give your name and address also. So if there's anybody else that would like to ask questions or have comments pertaining to this case, you're more than welcome.
Even if I'm not from here, can I say so?
Yeah, I mean,
Is that all right?
yeah.
Okay. I'd like to speak on their behalf. They have really become part of the community since they've been here, have been involved with different groups, and it's been fun watching all the work they've done on that church, and I think they've made that corner look 10 times better than it did, and I think it's just gonna get better and better. They don't leave trash out in their yard. Their yard always looks good. They do wanna move their car off the front, but they're having trouble getting it started and moved. So, but that will come. Yeah, I'm all in favor of them having that as a resident. So, thank you.
You wanna give us your name?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry,
I
I forgot
know.
about that. Shannon Bauer from Hudson, Kansas.
Anybody else have any comments or questions?
Yeah, Derek Lentz, live out in the country, outside of St. John. But, they tried to get a special use permit for this church.
Yeah.
And they were turned down.
Well, this board approved it, but the city council, voted against it because there was a protest petition signed.
Well, because that other church, catty corner from it, it's got a special use permit, it's zoned commercial residential.
Well, it's, as far as our map is concerned, it's zone R1 residential, but churches are allowed in R1 zone.
Okay.
So I'm not aware that it got any kind of special use as the Methodist church.
That's what I was told.
Yeah.
And,
It was built like in, 1911 or something like that. 1910, prior to any zoning, regulations.
yeah, I'm all for moving into the church, I think they've done quite a bit to it. And I just think it's terrible that you don't let them do it, that's why I don't know what's going on here, is it,
Well, it's not that we're not letting them, we just have to go through the proper procedures.
does city council can overrule a zoning, is
If,
what you're telling me?
yeah, if there's a protest, then they would have to, have a super majority, which would be 4/5 of the member to vote, to go the other direction. And they have other options too. I mean, they can delay it, they can send it back to the planning commission for further review, or table it. There's a lot of different options that could take place. That, we are an advisory board, so anything that we decide or vote on is subject to going to the city commission for final approval. We have any other questions or comments? Yeah.
I'm Candy Rains, I'm with your Lexington. I'm just curious what the zoning commission takes into account to make their decision, other than people, in the surrounding areas who might protest. How do you come to your decision? What things influence your decision?
Well, we have zoning regulations that establishes the criteria for, say, an R1 zone. And then there's, Pam issued, there's 17 factors that we look at to help us make that decision. I don't mind telling you right now, I mean, that, and it, I was leaning towards approval myself because of the property directly to the north. Everything north was zoned R1 on our zoning map, and so it, I didn't have any problem with it. I mean, there's commercial surrounding it on all other sides, but it's no longer a church. It's a building with 4 walls and a roof. And hasn't been occupied or used as a church for a long time, and so I didn't have any concerns with it. But now I guess I'm questioning because we kind of need to resolve the issue about that zoning. I personally don't think that it was officially zoned commercial just because it was a hotel.
Right, and I did
Yeah.
more research today, as much time as I can spare, but I still can't find anything that contradict what Bobby said, except our zoning map,
Yeah,
so.
but it's a vacant lot right now, and so, I mean, it could be, a house could be built there, as a residential use. Did that answer your question?
Not
or-
really. I mean,
Well-
I'm curious what the 17 things are, but that's probably too much to go into. But, I understand if it's a commercial property, it's for commercial use, and you're not supposed to reside there. But what about the other properties around the square that are some commercial and people reside there?
So, a commercial properties, people can live in it on the upstairs. They have, like, the zoning regulations state that you can have business downstairs and you can live upstairs, in commercial and industrial zones. What he's concerning about is what we call a spot zoning. So basically, you don't want one residential property here and it's surrounded by commercial property, and then another residential here surrounded by, industrial. It's better to keep things together, just for, like, you don't want, obviously, you don't wanna live next to the tire shops, to smell, to look at it and stuff like that. We do have some houses that are in the
Yes.
commercial zone, but those are, what we call a protective overlay properties, because they were grandfathered in before the zoning was adopted. So those are the only exceptions of the residential property within the commercial zone.
And we haven't exactly established the rezoning or ordinance, to identify those as protective overlay zones. But there are homes within the commercial downtown zone, but they're existing, they're grandfathered in, they really need to be reestablished, as a protective overlay zone. And that basically means the zone can stay the same, but the use, would be residential. So it's kind of a double standard there.
How long has that lot north of them been empty?
Since the
How
hotel
long
was
has
taken down?
the old hotel been
I
down?
don't know how long that's been. I mean, it was there when I was a kid, but I'm old.
I can remember it there.
Maybe it was at
I can remember it being there.
It was still standing
It was-
when we moved
it
back
was
to
there.
74, but
Yeah.
it wasn't
Before they
standing
tore
when we
down.
moved
No,
to
cause
town.
it was there when
It
I
was
walked
80
to
something.
school,
Yeah.
Yeah.
when I was in probably junior high.
How long ago was
That'd
that?
been-
You were in school.
Well, that
Well,
would've
I
been
was
late
just curious
70s, early
how long
80s.
it's been
Yeah, I'd
empty.
say early
You said it
eighties
one
too.
night, you didn't.
Yeah, it was early 80s and it was.
Cause we
still
used to
on.
sneak in there and look around and stuff like that. But, I didn't walk to school when I was in high school, but junior high I did. So that'd been the late 70s.
Well, it's 2011.
Yeah, I thought it was the 11.
We didn't have zoning regulations, before 2011.
And
Yeah,
when did you say Bob bought that? 2000?
He said 4 or 5,
That's
but
what
he
I
was gonna go and make sure finance.
So I'm sure he probably bought it assuming it was commercial, cause it was commercial before that.
He mentioned
Before
something
zoning.
about, it was owned by the Methodist Church across the street, and they were using it for parking lots before they moved out there.
Oh,
I'd
after
forgotten
it
that they
was
had
torn
bought it.
down?
Yes, after he bought it, yes.
I got a question, and correct me if I'm wrong, you said on commercial and industrial, they're allowed to live upstairs,
Mm-hmm.
okay?
Well, in commercial, I'm not for sure about industrial. I think it's
Okay, and the church is commercial, so
well,
basically they'd be allowed to live upstairs.
But they don't have a business.
Mhm.
They have to have a business, a operating business.
well, again, the Methodist Church is north of what is established as a commercial zone. So I've always assumed that that's residential, R1, and you can have a church in an R1 zone. There's a number of churches that don't exist anymore that are in neighborhood areas, but they've always been classified as R1.
So basically, they could start a business, live upstairs, and just have a business downstairs, even if they're open one day a month. It'd still be a business,
Well-
correct?
In that particular case with the Methodist Church, assuming that it's always been R1, you would not be able to run a business out of there until you rezoned it to commercial. But if it was already commercial,
Now, we're talking about the little church on Main Street, right?
well, yeah, the one that we're rezoning now,
Yeah.
it can right now, if they were to put a commercial use in the lower level of that, they could live upstairs. But the problem being, it's not handicap accessible. So that's why a commercial use has not been in there in the past. They'd have to have it handicap accessible for the public.
Does the business have to be open to the public, or can it just be run like an internet business?
Yeah, could be a online home business.
Yeah, but I think that's, the way that they have remodeled it, I don't think you could live in the upstairs totally.
It's pretty much like any other big two-story
No
house.
kitchen
Yeah,
upstairs.
it's not suited for commercial use now at all.
Well, I'm Anna Menace, but making it into a commercial with handicap accessible would be out of reach.
Well, that's right.
That's out of reach. let's just let somebody take care of that church and make it livable.
I agree.
I'm Steve Staten and I wanna support exactly what Anna Menace said.
Steve, can you speak up?
Okay.
I'm having a hard time.
Definitely can talk loud, I've
Yeah.
been accused of that, talking too loud. I want to just support what Anna Menace just said. It's residential, they are taking care of it, they've maintained it, they've improved it. It's so much better than what it was sitting there in the past. Please let it be allowed as residential.
I speak one more time. I heard you say that lot there across from the Methodist church was used as a parking lot. Did I hear you say that?
That's what.
I'm a Methodist and I don't ever remember ever that being used for a parking lot.
Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah.
told when I
It
talked
was-
to Bobby.
It was bought to be a parking lot, and then the new church was built. I was secretary.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Well, we never did park over
They
there.
never parked there, cause they go to the building.
Okay, do we have any other comments from the public?
I don't know, I used to work, Belda Young,
Yes.
I used to work with the city years and years and years and years ago. But, and I don't know whether you guys would ever be able to find them, but there should be maps, you know, for everything, but I don't know where they would have gone to or anything, to give you some kind of an idea of what things should have been or was back even before 2000 or, you know, like in the 70s.
Yeah.
But now
Well-
whether you can find those things or not, I don't know. But I
Well,
know
it's
they
my-
existed at one
It's my
time.
understanding that we did not have zoning regulations until 2011, so there wouldn't be anything, that far back. I mean, everything would have been just, you know, I don't wanna say this, but, you know, a community like this, they grew up basically with common sense. I mean, they determined, yeah, the downtown area was commercial and everything outside was residential, and the edges were industrial and so on. So, you know, at some point in time, they really didn't need zoning regulations, but then times changed and they developed ordinances to do that, so. And that's why there's so many things that are grandfathered in, because, well, just like this house on the corner. I mean, that used to be a residential house, and now it's a secondhand store, but you look at it, it's a house, and it's in the downtown, and the next two houses are houses, but that's zoned commercial. So those are, I mean, I don't wanna say non-conforming, but they're,
But the one house on the corner had a business in it too.
Yeah.
It was a barber shop and it
Yeah.
wasn't upstairs.
No,
Or
no.
downstairs. It
they
was
lived on the main
beside.
floor also, yeah. Any other public comments?
Aaron Reagan, St. John. I guess my request is that you guys, and I'm sure you're doing the best you can with what you've got to work with, but let's just have this done properly. And then say, okay, this is what our due diligence has been, and now we can proceed forward. Cause right now, I'm sort of getting the feel like you don't feel comfortable voting on this, knowing that that was verbally, it was bought with the condition it was commercial.
Right.
So to me,
Well-
it's how can you make a decision if you got
Yeah,
conflicting
I mean,
information?
the only thing, I guess I personally feel a little more uncomfortable just because that was something new to me that I'll just find out about.
Right.
So, I mean, the only thing we could do is to table this, which doesn't do the applicant any good. But we could table this to determine more information about the status of that vacant lot. If it was zoned R1, which it shows on the map as it is presently right now, I wouldn't have a problem with it because it's adjacent to residential zoning.
Is there a date on that map when the map was made
Well, the map would
that
have
you're
been,
looking at?
the map would have been, see, we've updated this map, but the map,
It was 2011.
Yeah, I think so, 2011.
2011,
So I'm assuming if that's in
December.
the zoning
Mhm.
board,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
We hired someone from Wichita to come out and help us with the zoning book.
okay.
Yes. And there is a reason why they wanted, the council at the time wanted zoning is because we had lots of people wanting to put baby calves, horses, and different animals, and don't get me wrong, I'm an animal lover, but animals need to be on the farm. And so that's why they came together and put the zoning book together for those reasons. And there's some people that I can sit and argue with all night long about the zoning book. They think we should throw it away. And I tell them, you throw it away, and guess what? Would you like a pen of baby calves in your backyard? Nope. Would you like a pen
I
of, you
would.
live in the country.
I live out in the country.
So, I mean, you know, just things like that.
Right.
And so, yes, we have given special use permits in the past, yes, we have. And so, we did give the, owners of the church that bought the church, zoning board did give them a special use. And after they bought it, and so, cause there was some confusion there that the our zoning showed it was residential, am I correct? Or commercial, and
The-
county said it was residential, so
Okay.
there was a lot of misunderstanding there. And so, but the zoning board passed to give them a special use as long as they lived there, but if they sold it, then it went back to commercial. Can everybody hear me? Okay, so then there was some misunderstanding about when they could move in there, okay? So they got the word that we gave them special permit, and when they came to town, they moved in. Okay, so it had to go to council before anyone could move in. Okay, are you with me? And then, different things was happening, and there was codes that wasn't going by and different things, and council declined them. So that kind of gives you a little bit up to date, and I hope I'm right. If I'm wrong, am I right, Ryan? Kind of, sorta? Mr. Gleason, am I correct? They declined them to move in there. So now they had to reapply, and so they're asking it to be zoned residential, period.
Another question, so if they had left it requesting special use, that's a little more lenient.
Yeah.
And can I say something again?
Yes.
When they moved in, I did tell them about what we had talked about at the zoning meeting, what the rules were gonna be. But I said, I'm sure they're gonna give you a list of things, because I cannot remember them all. And so I feel like that's where we broke rules, because I told them, I'm sure you'll get a list. So they just went ahead and moved in and never did get a list of what they could and couldn't do.
I have to disagree, because I know for a fact that Jamie have talked to you and told
That's what I
you
said.
to tell them that they cannot move in until it goes through the council, not for us to give a list to them and they can move in.
She might have said that, but I didn't get it, I didn't take it that way, that was my job to tell her.
But you were representing them because they couldn't be here, correct?
I wouldn't call myself a representative, I'm more of a cheerleader for
Okay.
'em.
Advocate.
Well, I'm serious, I really
Yeah.
was trying to do
I
what's
mean,
right, I'm not,
I understand that there's a miscommunication somewhere, but I just wanna make sure that, like, I state my part, that we did what we supposed to, and there
and
was a
I
miscommunication.
have never said that you guys didn't tell me. You think I am, like I remember you standing up, hollering at me, said, we told you. Yes, I didn't say you did not tell me. I would not lie about that. There is no doubt you told me.
Yeah, and I'm like,
But I told them,
if I make you
thinking-
feel like I'm accusing you of something, I am sorry, but I need to state that fact so everybody get the facts straight. Like, everybody hear it from both sides of the story, not just like, you know, one side here and one side
but
here.
come out accusatory, and I really was trying to do what was right and to follow. I wasn't trying to break any rules. I listened to you guys, I listened to the zoning, and, I said, I am sure, because that's usually, if there's rules, you get a list of them, of what you gotta do, because of all the rules, I knew I couldn't remember them all, because I didn't have anything on paper. And I said, I'm sure they're gonna come talk to you and tell you, no one ever came by and talked to them until a much later date. But not after
Well,
they moved in.
Well, I think, I mean, that particular issue is kind of in the background in the past
Yeah.
now. And on whether, you know, I mean, I know that there was a court proceeding and things like that, but that's been tabled.
Right,
And so we have to just basically start fresh,
right.
and that's what we're doing
But
tonight.
I know, but I'd like to get that off
Yeah.
their shoulders, that they did something wrong.
Yeah.
They did not purposely,
Yeah.
they did not do anything
Well,
wrong.
they've done everything that I remember, cause I know one of the things that we requested was it had to meet minimum housing codes.
Right,
And they did that, and the city inspected it and approved it for minimum housing codes, so it's approved for residential living at this point, you know.
Is this the first time that the zoning for the church has been brought up?
Well, we had a conditional use before.
Okay. Do they have to have a hearing for conditional?
Yeah, we had
use?
a public hearing.
Okay, according to Kansas statutes, I should have been notified and never was.
Well, we went through this before, cause I mean, you did go to the city commission, so you were aware of the, at some point in time later. There were some mistakes that were made.
Yeah.
There were a couple of,
Legal mistakes, though.
there were a couple of people that did not get informed, but
I mean, this
we're
time you
here-
did it legally, which
yeah.
I appreciate.
this here, tonight, we are assured that everybody got proper notification
Yep.
that was in that area.
I appreciate it.
I'm Virginia Russell, and I don't live in St. John, Kansas, but it's my town. And guys, we have a family, a couple, who bought a home in our town, thinking, oh, let's go to this beautiful little hometown where people are so kind and good and have common sense. And we're just a little town. We're not those places where you can't think about others. So I think I said this to the fellas one time when I was asking questions. I have friends who are calling and saying, what's the matter with St. John? Can't they let somebody who's paid money for a home move in because they knew everybody in St. John would welcome them and be happy to have good people here in our city? And so I know that's what we're all thinking about is we're realists. We are people with compassion. And if it was my son and his wife who bought a home in St. John, Kansas, and they waited almost a year to be able to call it their home, stay in their home, and treat it like it was their own, I would be so upset with the people who live here. And we're good people. And we just want everybody to be treated like we want to be treated. So I'm just listening to everything because I care about our town and about everybody wanting their own home. And what they've been through is really unkind. And that's what we're about is being kind to each other and making this home. And instead of having regulations and rules that don't make a lot of common sense when we're talking about people's lives. Only one home is all we're talking about out of the whole city. We're not talking about what happened a long time ago, we're talking about what's happening right now. And I thank you for that, because I know how you feel, all of you. We're
Well-
St. John people, whether we live 13 miles to the south or not, or how many miles to the north.
Well, I know,
This is where,
I know that, I mean, you realize you are preaching to the choir, because this board did approve it originally,
yes,
you know, and so,
so that makes a lot of
Yeah.
difference. It's just what we wanna
But-
do
but
for
there
people.
still are concerns now with some new evidence, about the R1 zone. It does bother me that
So
probably
let's
needs to be
just
resolved.
be realists and let a family enjoy our
Yeah.
city square and our town.
Can we clap?
Okay,
I've got a comment.
yes,
I'm Chad Fisher, local guy, businessman. I haven't had a chance to meet the applicants yet. I'm the guy that brought the roll-off container over when you first moved to town. You put all your stuff in it, I took care of it. Never seen anybody bill, I mean, that's just what we do around here, is welcome people. It really hurts my heart to see the hurt in this room and the pain that this has caused. And either way you guys go, it's gonna be hurtful to half the people. I'd like to make you an offer. I would like to buy your building if you wanna sell it. I'm just throwing that out there. I'm an entrepreneur, I can do things with it. You can take the money and buy a house here in town, if you want. I just don't wanna see our community divided. I don't like it. This is my home, raised my kids here, I grew up here. I want to see us be together. So, you can take it however you want, but, if you're interested, just tell me what you want for it. Try to make a deal. So,
okay.
just throwing that out there. Gotta go.
Okay. Yep. Are there any written communications or petitions from the public? Hearing none. Does the applicant wish to respond to any of the public comments?
I just appreciate everyone's comments and concerns and, I
Yeah.
just appreciate everyone who's been thoughtful and everyone who has shown up.
Okay.
I'm just kind of, I just can't say anything.
Okay. Hearing no other further public comments, I hereby close the public portion of this hearing. There will be no further comments unless the commission wishes to ask questions to clarify information. The planning commission will now deliberate the request. There are 17 factors which the commission must consider in making their recommendation. We have those. They are found in the rezoning report. Each factor will be considered and our collective opinion will be summarized. So at this point, I mean, there are several options, and we could move to approve the rezoning, or consider the evidence at this hearing be tabled and factors to evaluate. So I guess at this point I'm asking for a motion. You know, I know that I've expressed a concern about the property, to the north, but, I mean, I would make the recommendation that it be approved, even though, I guess in my mind, I still contend that property, based on the zoning maps that we have, has always been R1 residential. It's a vacant lot. If there was a commercial building sitting on that corner, I'd have more concern. We have an old Methodist church sitting there that, probably isn't going to, you know, I don't know what the status of that church is gonna be, but it's allowed to be in R1. All that property to the north of that street and north of, this request is zoned R1. So with that, I would like to make a motion that we approve this property for R1 zoning.
So, the only issues I have is any other time in the past where something like this has come up, it's always been a special use permit. The water treatment facility, special use permit. They do that to keep, so we don't have to keep drawing up maps, and you keep your commercial, and your residential, vice versa. I'm not sure why they didn't apply for a special use permit, but that would be, I mean.
Well, the special use permit was denied.
Not by us.
Not by us.
Well, no, but I mean, do we wanna go through that again? I mean, that's.
I mean, I'm not for everybody wanting to rezone something, and then there we go, drawing another map up, and then you're gonna have, I mean, we would have commercial all over the place, or residential inside of commercial. That's the whole point of having the commercial zone, and that's the reason for special use permits, is special use permits allow you to do that even in a commercial zone. Then you don't redraw your map, get all new maps made.
Why was the special use permit denied?
That's the city council.
Did the city council deny it?
Yes.
What reason did they give?
I suggest that you go to the council and at a council meeting and talk to the council members about that, cause I don't wanna overstep them.
There was a protest petition filed by someone within that legal notification. And when that happens, then it makes it more difficult for the council to vote. I mean, it had to be a super majority, which was it had to be a 4-to-1 vote.
There's also a video of that meeting on YouTube. If you would like to go back and see, you're more than welcome to, and if you can't find it, you can come in and I can find it and show it to you.
No, I'm just kinda curious why they denied it.
Please speak up.
Or you can go and speak to the council members individually and talk to them. You don't have to come to a meeting, you can just go to them individually. And there's minutes, I'm sure there's minutes that you can ask Pam to run you a copy off and you could read the minutes.
I'm gonna have to remind everybody that we closed the public hearing. So unless.
That's right.
Unless anybody on this board has a question for the public, then.
No, you don't have to leave. You don't have to leave,
No,
but we
you don't.
can't take any more comments from the public. He closed that part.
So what are we doing here?
I guess you can sit and listen.
That's my concern.
Yeah.
Mine too, Michael. Mine too.
Well, at this point, I made a motion,
Right,
so I guess I'm asking for a second.
right.
If there is no second, then someone else will. Okay, Mark seconded it. So we have a motion by me, second by Mark. All those in favor of rezoning this to R1, say aye. Aye. All those opposed?
No.
Jenny?
I can't vote.
We've got the tie, don't we?
So, as attached to your packet, I have been researched this situation cause I know Jenny can't vote, and I was wanna make sure that if we have a tie, then I would know what to do, and according to the Lake of Kansas municipality and, our attorney, they agree that if there's a tie, it's an automatic no, because it shows that the zoning board is not, can't make the strong recommendation to the yes part of whatever decision that you're approving. So in this case, it's a no.
So with that in mind, that, motion has been denied.
Yes, to approve, the
To
motion
approve.
to approve has
So,
been denied.
But if we turn around and someone makes a motion to deny, we'd have the same tie. So we have to consider, probably tabling.
I would feel better, I'm not trying to tell you what to do, with the new information that came up yesterday. I would feel better to table this and let me dig in a little bit more. We have council meeting next week. If you guys wanna meet at 5:30 on Tuesday, you know, so that give me the weekend to find more information, and I can send the information that I find out, then we can meet again, at March 5th at 5:30, and then we can talk about it and then make decisions then.
So do we,
So explain it, Dennis, why we
well,
okay.
do we, I guess I've got a question that if someone wants to make a motion to table this, do we have to send out legal notices again?
No, we
Because
just
everybody-
have to
Everybody
state, yep,
who's been notified is here.
correct.
And
We just have to make sure that everybody in this room know that we are tabling this to the date and the time that, that we state, and then you're more than welcome to attend. So there's no,
But it won't be a public hearing.
no,
It'll
it'll just be
They
a,
can just attend
correct,
as
because
a
the,
observer.
the public hearing portion
Right,
is
it's
already
done.
closed,
Okay.
so it's
I
just
just
gonna
wanna be
be a
clear.
regular meeting.
So does someone wanna make a motion to table this?
I make a motion that we table rezoning
To that specific,
To March 5th at 5:30.
to March 5th at 5:30.
do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed? So it's been approved that, we table this till March 5th.
At 5:30.
Hopefully we can get this resolved as far as the zoning to the north where the old hotel was.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
We still need to go back to our agenda.
There is no work session. So we need,
I have a question, yeah. When you find out that's commercial, do they need to reapply for,
Special use.
special
If it gets denied, they have to reapply as special use. Right?
So, yeah, they have that option, so if
And it
that,
starts over.
if
Well,
that
it doesn't matter, it goes to
that
council
property
no matter
is
what,
whether we
commercial,
deny it or
yeah,
not.
And it's so, I mean, if we would just issue this and, or.
No, there's a thing though, so if we find out if that is commercial, and they can take the chance, and you guys cannot approve the change of zoning as a disapprove, like, you know, you're not recommending sending it to council, if they wanna take that chance, they have to go through the whole process, the council has to deny it, yes. Yes, so if they're wanting special use, then they're going to have to withdraw the current application and then reapply, and then that don't have to go to council.
Which I see Bobby's point, I don't know if this is the time to discuss it, because he bought it thinking it was supposed to have been a old hotel parking and then a church parking lot, that would be commercial.
Yeah, but like I said, I have looked at everything zoning wise, and I cannot find anything that said it's never been zoned, but I don't know why our zoning map is
Well, they
residential
probably just did it and didn't,
Because, yeah,
didn't
cause
talk
there
to
was nothing
anybody.
there.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
Yeah.
That is, I'll have to, like I said, I only have so much time today
Yeah.
Well,
I see his point.
I just, everything in the past from when they've set this up has always been special use, special use. That way you don't have to redo your map.
That's
You
exactly
don't
right.
have a block of commercial and then exactly what you were saying.
A spot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not, even Bickley is not recommend spot zoning, it's just, it's
That
too
will get
much-
us in trouble.
Yes.
And that's the point of the special use permit.
Yes, yes.
The only problem, I mean, I don't know that it's a problem, it might be for you, but how do you know, how many special uses do we have in this community? And where are they? You know, yeah.
Well, we have a file, basically, I can compile a list, but right now it's just files scattered in our, our document, like in our computer. So, but I can definitely compile a list of the change, like the zoning has got changed,
The one that we know of.
conditional use,
Yeah.
yes,
Okay.
and the special use. I can do that, and I can have that ready at our next, not this coming, but the next
Meeting.
meeting.
That'd be good to know.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay, can I ask a motion to adjourn?
Yes. Yeah, we need that motion.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, a second?
I second it.
Yeah, all those in favor say aye.
Um,
All those opposed? The meeting is adjourned.